Today's episode of the Outline Podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering the listeners of this show one free audiobook and a 30-day free trial. You can redeem this by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting www.audibletrial.com/outlinepod. Let's do this thing.
Yeah. The Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. Yeah. The Outline. Yeah. With Kevin Dwayne. Yeah. The Outline. Yeah. With Kevin Dwayne. Yeah. This is the Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne with Kevin Dwayne.
Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's the Outline Podcast, and I am Kevin Dwayne. This is episode 99. Damn. I think the craziest thing about that is there's someone who's going to discover my show, and they're going to be like, damn, he got damn near 100 episodes, and they'll have hours of content to binge on. And that blows my mind because I know how I binge content, like on Netflix or on Hulu or even in podcasts. If I find a podcast that I enjoy, if I love it like a lot, I'm going to go back and listen to old shows, especially if I can still get information that makes sense in current time. So the fact that I have a show that's been around for 2 years and I have that much content just blows my entire mind. It took me a few years to get 100 episodes on YouTube or videos on YouTube because that process was so different. So this just feels quick, but damn. Whatever. So yeah, this is episode 99. I hope you guys are enjoying your day back at work. Yesterday was a holiday, and that's why I didn't release the show on the 4th of July because I was like, I imagine people listening to podcasts on their commutes or at work or when they're doing something productive, not at a barbecue, not while you're chilling, not while you're binge watching television. So I was like, I'll wait a day and put the show out on a day that makes sense. With that said, hope you enjoyed that day off no matter what you did. We all know that not everyone celebrates the 4th. Some people just look at it as a day off. I know I do. I kind of just go with what the day brings me. I started out really, really late, stayed in bed, watched some television. Then I went to my cousin's house, who she put together a small little barbecue. It was like 7 of us there. You know, it was her husband, a couple friends, their kids, and we just vibed out. I had a couple veggie burgers that were put on the grill with some baked beans, and I was good. We had the alcohol flowing, and it was a good afternoon. One thing about barbecues or events that involve like friends and family, it's always a measure of where you are in life. And what I could say is we are officially grown as fuck and can be seen as the old people. And I say that because there were 2 kids at the barbecue yesterday, and it was literally how we were when our parents were grown. Like, we're sitting there drinking our cocktails, playing Cards Against Humanity and Uno while the kids are in the corner arguing about water guns and toys, and then like when certain songs would come on, they would do like the latest dance moves, and we're like, come show us how to do that dance. And we couldn't do it because we too damn old, and just like, it was just hilarious. I'm like, wow, like time moves so quickly. I remember being their age and being excited about fireworks. Once again, when it was time to go outside and start popping the fireworks, like we sat our asses down and watched them enjoy the fireworks. And, you know, they had the little sparklers and the poppers, and they're just having the good old grand time. Meanwhile, we discussing how much the fireworks cost. Like, oh, how much you pay for that? Oh, okay, that's reasonable. You know, like it's crazy like how circular life is, but that's also the amazing part of it. It's just allowing yourself to go on that ride. Like, I don't feel any ways about getting older. I don't feel any ways about it because I'm here. Like, I get to wake up and have another experience and see something different. And that's why I think ageism sucks. When you're young, you talk about old people, or even if you're older, talking about young people, because we all, if we're lucky and if we're blessed enough, we'll experience all of it. We'll experience being young and we'll experience being older. So you shouldn't really knock anyone for being where they are currently. So I thought that was a dope ass moment to experience. But it was a good off day, and it's straight up back to work today. If you're listening to this on Thursday, it's back to work today. But I am excited because tonight I'm going to see the Whitney Houston documentary, Whitney, which this is the one that the family put together. So I'm super, super excited to finally see it. I've been hearing about it for about a year now, I believe. And then my friend Garrick, who was on the show, he saw it back in like February. And he was telling me how amazing it was. So I've been amped to see this like forever. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited for that this evening. I'll definitely let you guys know my thoughts on it on next week's show. But I'm seeing it at Midtown Art Cinema in Atlanta, because I checked the listings on Sunday and it's only playing there and Regal tonight, because it officially comes out tomorrow, which is the 6th. But it's playing, the preview is tonight at Regal Cinema in Atlantic Station and Midtown Art Cinema. But then all the other dates were like far as fuck, like Austell and Stonecrest. I'm like, yeah, I'm not driving, an hour and a half and 2 hours to see this movie. Now, my cousin was telling me that typically the weekend of, they add more dates because this is supposed to be a national release. It's not supposed to be a limited release. So hopefully more theaters will pick it up. But when I checked on Sunday, it was only those 2 for tonight. So I'm going to see it tonight in Midtown. So I'm super excited about that. Other than that, what else has been going on? Cardi B. Super, super, super happy for Cardi B. She got her second number 1 on the Hot 100, thus breaking another record. So I understand that with a lot of people, they don't really research and they don't really care enough to research, but I know a lot of tongues are wagging about Cardi B getting the second number 1 and breaking her own personal record and all these things. And basically everyone said, wait a minute, Nicki Minaj has number 1s. What are they talking about? People are making this shit up. Why they make up these records every time artists come out? This is not true. This is false. And people are posting, what they think to be the number 1s are. And once again, loud and wrong. Y'all love to be loud and wrong. And I don't understand that. Like, do your research. Do better. Just do better. So as a huge music fan and a avid reader of Billboard magazine, you have to understand a few things here. There are like 200, I'm exaggerating, but there's a lot of fucking Billboard charts, okay? There's a lot of charts. But there's a couple major charts that matter a little bit more than the others. The 2 major charts that you should pay attention to and understand the most are the Billboard 200. That's the albums chart. And then there's the Hot 100. That's the singles chart. And these are national charts. They're across all genres. So a lot of times these are the charts that artists want to be on because it's a measure of national success. It lets you know that the song is crossing all cultures and things of that sort. But you still have the R&B charts, you have the pop charts, you have the rap charts, you have the streaming charts, there's so many, dance, Latin, jazz. There's so many charts. Bubbling under charts, which is like runner up. Basically, you're not quite charting, but your song is picking up heat, so it's bubbling under. There are many, many charts. So here's the thing. Hot 100 singles, this is pretty much the chart for everyone. This is rap, pop, R&B, everyone. So to be on this chart is a huge deal. Nicki Minaj has only peaked at number 2 and 3 on this chart. Anaconda got to number 2. Super Bass got to number 3. She's been in the top 10 countless times. We know that. And Nicki Minaj has had number ones on the top 200, which is the albums chart. Her albums have been number 1. But as far as singles, she has not had a number 1, whether she was featured or solo. That hadn't happened for a woman who is a rapper since Lauryn Hill, okay? So it took 20 years for Cardi B to release a single as a rapper woman to get this number 1. And then she broke that record by getting an additional number 1 on the Hot 100 national chart. So this is a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And she broke multiple records with this because no female rapper has gotten 2 number 1s. First of all, on the Hot 100, and it's from the same album, and it's from the same debut album. So she beat Macklemore and Lady Gaga with these 2 number 1s. So it's a really, really big deal, and I think we should celebrate her. It's so exciting to see her win, especially while she is pregnant. It's amazing. It's like, I love it because so many women have lost their careers or had their careers halted because of getting pregnant. I always think about Brandy during the full moon era. Now, granted, we know she lied about the situation and it put a poor taste in people's mouths. But even then, she got pregnant during a pivotal moment of her album. Like, you released this bomb ass album and damn, girl, like, hey, Soraya, that's cool, but why now? Toni Braxton got pregnant during the More Than a Woman phase, and I think she ended up losing her deal with Arista because they were going back and forth. There was a whole special on VH1 about it, and that's when she ended up going to Blackground. But like, women are it's seen negative to get pregnant, which is so crazy. So you don't often see them in the public eye while they are carrying the child. So it's nice to see that while Cardi is preparing for her due date, she's still winning. I know she's has this big billboard in Times Square that she was posting, and then the number 1s, and then her album is doing well on the charts, and it's just, I think it's a really, really dope moment, and it's good to see because once again she is changing the narrative, and I think that is super, super dope. So congratulations to Cardi B. Another hot album, which is so weird for me to say, is Drake Scorpion. It came out last Friday actually. And the thing about Drake is this. I loved Drake when he first dropped, which was So Far Gone. I love Thank Me Now or Thank Me Later, because the last track on the album was called Thank Me Now. It always confuses me. And then Take Care. I don't know what happened. I can't pinpoint it at all. But at a certain point, I fell off of Drake. Like, I personally was just like, I don't care for Drake anymore. And I don't know if it was me kind of being like woke or whatever it was, but at a certain point, I started kind of being annoyed by Drake's lyrics. It had to be somewhere. I know it was before Hotline Bling for sure, but Hotline Bling made me really be like, what the fuck, man? And I realized and I talked about this on the show before, Drake has an obsession with good girls. And it's annoying. It's this whole idea where it's almost like he's pitting women against each other. It's this whole idea of like, oh, a good girl stays home. She doesn't go out. She allows me to be a fuck boy and do whatever the fuck I want to do, but she's always available for me. So it's like this weird contradiction where he'll be like, oh, women are the world, aka nice for what? Women are this. Fuck these niggas. Don't be nice. Do you be independent? But on the same token, I'm gonna send my goons over to fuck you up because you out here fucking with these other niggas. And nah, that's my pussy and you know it. So it's like this weird kind of, which one is it? And so I started seeing through that shit, and it started annoying me about Drake. And it's not to say his music wasn't good. I still thought he had dope ass tracks. Like, If You're Reading This, It's Too Late no, I listened to that album, thought it was great. I listened to More Life. I found songs on More Life I liked. I didn't care for Views. I played that once and was like, this is too long, and I just didn't find it interesting at all. So I didn't play that. I don't know much about Nothing Was the Same, but since he's released Scorpion, people have been saying that he hasn't had a really good album since Nothing Was the Same. And If You're Reading This Is Too Late. So now I want to go back and listen to Nothing Was the Same just to hear it in completion, because I don't really know much about that album, because after I hadn't listened to like a full work since Take Care. So anywho, I did listen to Scorpion from beginning to end, and I enjoy it. I especially enjoy side A because Drake is rapping. I prefer my rappers to rap and my singers to sing. I drive this home over and over again. So I prefer him to rap. I do like elements of side B now after playing it. Like, I love In My Feelings with City Girls. Side note, City Girls are really, really dope. I added their music to my playlist. I added their music to my library on Apple Music when it came out, their mixtape period. But I never got around to actually listening to the whole work. I only played I'll Take Your Man and nothing else. But then after playing it, I was like, oh, this is dope. The best way to describe them is two year 2000 Trinas. That is the best way to describe them in just current time. They rap just like Trina did in year 2000. Well, hell, Trina still raps like that, but the young ratchetness of it all is very much Trina in year 2000. So make sure you guys check them out. It's super fun. It's super, if you're going out to the club and you want to feel real hood and tell niggas off and tell niggas that they ain't shit, whatever. So yeah, check that out. Also, if you hear the background noise, I'm recording this in the morning. You might hear like some gardening going on. The gardeners are outside my window, but I don't feel like, switching up anything right now. So we're just going to keep going. But if you hear that, it's an ambiance like you had on the last show, which some of you enjoy. It was like thunder and lightning outside. I got a lot of notes saying they enjoyed that sound because it felt like they were in the room with me. Well, now you get another one. I have another additional track of gardeners outside. So that's that. But the Drake thing. Another thing is, I feel like Drake has a weird, eerie connection to dead people. And I know he's keeping legacies alive, but it's starting to get really weird for me. So, of course, we know he loves Aaliyah. He's had a song with Aaliyah in the past that he, got from her discography or her unreleased tracks. But also, there's like at the end of side A, there's someone singing a portion of More Than a Woman. Then on side B, he has a song featuring Michael Jackson. And I'm putting that in quotations because it doesn't sound like Michael Jackson to me. But I do know that an artist like Drake couldn't possibly release a song saying it's Michael Jackson and it not be Michael Jackson without people actually hamming him up. So I can't doubt that that's actually an unreleased Michael Jackson track. But the way that it's produced and put together, it doesn't sound like Michael Jackson to me. Okay, so I don't doubt that it's Michael Jackson. It just doesn't sound like Michael Jackson to me. It sounds like The Weeknd all goddamn day, but that's neither here nor there. The song is cool. It's cool. Everyone's been talking about March 14th, which is the song where he finally talks about his son. Well, he talks about his son twice on the album. There's been all these think pieces about it, and all I can say about that is I let rich people do what the fuck they're gonna do. I do have an issue with absentee fathers, but I also understand how relationships are complicated, and it appears that Drake had this baby on some one night stand shit, and he got, and he sends gifts and money and lets it be that. But I kind of come from this weird standpoint of this. If he's taking care of the child and at least trying to be in the child's life, I don't think it's any of our business. And so there's been all these think pieces about, oh, Drake ain't shit for hiding his baby from us and not telling us that he's a father and not doing this. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's a requirement. Just like relationships aren't required. Like we're not entitled to private information of celebrities. So if they want to have private children and private relationships, as long as they're taking care of them, I don't have an issue with it. Now, if there's a kid starving and suffering and you're not in their life, I have an issue with that. But if you are making sure they're good and at least like meeting them and interacting with them, then I don't have a problem with it. That's none of my goddamn business. So that's that. So if you haven't checked out Scorpion, which I doubt, I feel like the world has checked out Scorpion at this point. So, but I like it. I think it's a cool album. I'm trying to give Drake a further chance, but there's just something about him that really still rubs me wrong. But dude is talented. The music's good. I have a couple of songs in my playlist, and that's that. Moving on. Another thing that I've noticed that's been circling around is Yvonne Orji. Yvonne Orji plays Molly on Insecure, and she's made it clear that she is a virgin because of her religion and because of her upbringing. So she's waiting until marriage to have sex. She recently posted a picture or a few pictures of her and this gorgeous man, like gorgeous bodied man, and she seems like she is very happy, and you know, she's like touching on him and really like enjoying the moment. And so when I saw it, I was instantly excited for her. I was like, yes, get your man, manifest it, because she put the prayer that she prayed to get him. And I think it is a dope ass moment. But of course, there are people who are tearing her apart for it, saying that they feel like she's flaunting her virginity, and we shouldn't value women based on that, and she's objectifying him by touching him that way, and is that how she should operate as this Christian woman? I'm just like, listen, y'all can ruin a fucking wet dream. Like, y'all stay pissing in people's Cheerios. I don't get it. Okay, so I'm gonna call a thing here. If you're pressed about someone's virginity, that's your own projection of how you feel about yourself for not having it. And here's the thing, I don't do sexual shame. I don't think one is valued more than the other. If someone wants to say, listen, I don't want to have sex until marriage, that's their fucking business. If someone wants to have sex before marriage, i.e. me, that's my business, you know? Live your life the way you want and don't feel any kind of way about it. No way. Yvonne Orji is not saying she's shitting on other people who aren't virgins. She's saying that because of her belief system and because of how she feels, she hadn't had sex till marriage and she'd rather just wait. That's her business. Don't be affected by that. It's not saying you are less than. She didn't say anyone was less than. People are just taking it upon themselves to be insecure about it. That's her business. And if she wants to save it, that's totally on her. And I think it's unfair to just kind of be like, oh yeah, that's unhealthy of you. No, I mean, that's her belief system. And if that's what she wants for herself, she never once shamed other women. She never said anything about other women. She said for her. So I just don't get the hate. I don't get it. Like, just call it out. You're insecure about someone. And also, it's the same with like dieting. If you are heavier and you have friends who are heavier, if you decide to lose weight, they start hating on you because what you're doing is you're showing that it's possible to do it, and they're losing their excuses on how to actually lose that weight. And it's the same with sex. We know that sex is a very tempting thing because it's a very natural thing. It comes natural to us, and temptation is everywhere. So when someone is stating that they have avoided this temptation, and that they've gotten to a point of just being all out sexual or just not being sexual, people who are sexual and who have fallen into it are like, nah, that's bullshit. Ain't no way in hell you made it that long without having no sex. Whereas there are people who make it that long because of their own convictions and religions and thought process and things of that sort. And there's people who are virgins, like Tokyo on Love and Hip Hop. And she says she's just a virgin just because she just has her own reservations about sex. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with being married. She just has her own reservations about sex because of what she's seen. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If people don't want to have sex, they don't have to have sex. But it doesn't make people who have sex any wrong or less than or anything like that. So I just feel like people are just trying to take joy from a perfectly fine opportunity. Leave that girl alone. Let her enjoy her fine ass man. And that will be that. Another thing that I wanted to kind of highlight and offer criticism at the same time, which is kind of weird, but it's just been on my mind. So a podcast that I love and that I've been binge listening to is Lip Service with Angela Yee from The Breakfast Club. And if you haven't checked out Lip Service, you should. It is a podcast about sex. It is 4 women talking about sex in a very unadulterated way. Like, they say what they feel, what it is, straight out. There's no political correctness. And oftentimes these ladies will have a celebrity guest on the show. The guest can be male or female. However, oftentimes it has been male guests who are typically rappers or athletes. And what I've also noticed is if they're on the Breakfast Club, I feel like Angela Yee is like, hey, well, since you're here, you want to go ahead and just be on the show later? Because that's what you notice as a trend. A lot of times if they're on the Breakfast Club, later on they'll be on lip service. So if they want to talk about sex and stuff like that, and the show is very much about sex. Very enjoyable show. I love it to an extent. But I'm noticing, and this is just more of one of those things of where you're just observing the characteristics of people. There's so many opportunities where they'll have like cisgendered straight men on the show. And these men will say something so wrong, so problematic, and so stupid, and it will be about women. And you have 4 women sitting there and they won't correct him at all. And I'm just like, y'all couldn't have just thrown anything in there to just show him that his thinking is wrong. And this is the danger of this, is because they have a platform that people are watching. So if you have a man who's saying something that's so incorrect and all y'all are afraid to correct him, you pretty much keep the idea going that it's okay. Like, I don't care what men are on there. Every man that's been on that show has said the whole double standards about women not being able to have multiple partners, but they can have multiple partners. They said things about, what's seen as gay in a straight relationship. And it's just interesting. I'm like, why aren't you guys taking this opportunity to educate? Like, if you're going to have this platform, you're going to have this conversation, don't be afraid. Now, they don't do that all the time. There are times where they'll be like, nah, you're wrong. Like, I think one rapper, I think it was Black Youngster. I could be wrong. It was Black Youngster. He was saying like, oh, if you're having sex missionary and you like grab his ass while sex and he lets you, he's gay. And one girl's like, that's not true. Like, stop that shit. Like, she did say that's not true. Like, I smack my man's ass all the time. Like, it's not gay. Like, because I'm a woman and he's a man. So how would that be gay if we're opposite sex? She called it out. And he was like, nah. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. There was another opportunity where they were talking about the prostate being a G-spot. And dude was like, man, don't let those people fool you into that shit. That's not real. Ain't no such thing as that. Ain't no G-spot, And they were like, no, it's actually factual. Like, fuck how you feel about it. It's an actual thing. And so there are times where they will be like, nah, there's that. But there's also times where they won't. And there's actually this other girl on there. I won't even call her name out because I want you guys to listen to it or watch it. Because a lot of times they film it and you can watch it on YouTube or you can listen to it on wherever. And there's this one girl. She's very much a pick-me. I can't no matter who's on the show, if they are male, she sides with them to her own disrespect as a woman. So basically, like, she always agrees with the man. So if the man says something off the wall about women, like, yeah, nah, women shouldn't do this. When she's like, I agree with him. Like, I know it's wrong, but I agree with him. I see it that way too. Like, you shouldn't do that. Like, every time. And it literally makes me want to pull my eyes out, because it does not matter. If a man is on the show, she's going to side with him no matter what. He can say the most craziest shit, like the most outlandish shit, and he'll be like, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, you shouldn't do that. He could be like, yeah, girls shouldn't come first during sex. I agree. Yeah, you shouldn't come first. You should let him come first. I'm like, girl, stop it. But yeah, I feel like ultimately all I'm saying is I feel like they should take those opportunities to educate and to also push it forward, because not only are they having important conversations, people are listening and watching, and that's a moment to be like, hey, let me just shift this a little bit so you understand that your thinking is way the fuck off. Especially with them rappers and athletes, them motherfuckers are ignorant as hell. So it's like, come on, educate them right the fuck now. But that's not to say it's not a great podcast. Like, I love it. I listen to it pretty much all damn day. And it's good to hear how a lot of these celebrities think, especially when it comes to sex. Sex is a very vulnerable thing for a lot of people. So hearing men talk about it in a way that isn't just like, oh, fuck these hoes, but actually how they are in relationships and when they're actually being intimate in real life is super, super dope to hear. So check out Lip Service wherever podcasts are. It's a popular podcast. So I have no doubt that you will find it. So that's that. And my message for the week is pretty much this. Do not let your ideals on how life should be or how things should play out keep you from the joy of reality. I know a lot of us are very much conditioned to think a certain way. It's from television, it's from our upbringing, it's from media in general, it's from religion, it's from a lot of things. We gathered all of these thoughts and we put together in our head how things should be, how they should flow, and how it should look. Not only do we set these high expectations for how it should look and how it should happen, we end up getting disappointed when it doesn't happen that way. And we avoid opportunities because we think it's not going to go the way it should. So what I'm saying is get rid of all that shit. Ideals are not good. To be idealistic gets you nowhere. And I understand having certain standards. I understand being traditional. There's a lot of traditionalists. And having things be a certain way. That's completely fine. You don't have to work against that. But you can't be worried about the minute details of it. Or as a book I read, Playing the Matrix by Mike Dooley. It talks about the cursed hows. So it's like you can manifest happiness. You can say, I want a partner that is just for me. But when you get into the details of height and weight and color and personality traits and all that stuff, those are the cursed hows. And you're actually hurting yourself because you're setting an expectation that involves something outside of yourself. And sometimes you have to just sit back and just make yourself available and say, okay, I'm just ready for a partner that's for me. Same with work. I'm just ready for a job that's for me. I'm ready to do something that's for me. And then you allow God, the universe, whatever you believe in, to take it from there and just trust that they'll send something that's tailored to you versus writing this long laundry list of things that you're never going to find in one person because you're being too specific on the cursed house. So don't let the ideal mess up your journey. Like, just open yourself up to what's great and what's for you and what's made for you and enjoy the ride. And then a lot of times people come in really weird ways. Opportunities happen in really weird ways. When I look back on like all my jobs and all the things that I've done, a lot of it has been on some fluke ass shit. Like, I can't tell you the last time I applied for a job on like LinkedIn or on Indeed or something. It's always been through a networking opportunity, through someone else, word of mouth, or just being in the right place at the right time. The same with like relationships and stuff. Like, it's never those times where I'm like actively seeking to date someone or on an app or something that I meet them. It's usually like, I met this person while at this party or at this, or this happened or this happened. And it's because you have to just allow yourself to be open and not closed off. And then also, just because you've been disappointed by things not working out the way you wanted them to work ideally, don't let that affect the effort you put into something. Because there are a lot of people who have been jaded, and I hate that word so much, but there's people who have been jaded and who are bitter, hate that word too, because they've been disappointed so much. But what happens is they stop putting in effort. So what also happens is there could be someone of potential who's around them, but because they've been hurt so much, they're not putting effort in at all. And so they pretty much become what they've despised. And it becomes this whole cycle, and they push away something that could have been for them because of their negative experiences before. So I guess it's twofold. Don't allow ideals to steal your joy, but then also, if your joy is stolen, don't stop putting in effort, because you can still find whatever, love, career, all that good shit in a very hopeless place. And that's that. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Please share it with your friends. Tag me in your favorite quotes. Use the hashtag The Outline Podcast. Leave your comments and reviews and rate it with 5 or 6 stars on every podcast site, especially Apple Podcasts, because that's how we move up in the ranks. And yeah, I will talk to you all next week. Peace out. And next week's the 100th episode. Oh my God. 100 episodes. All right, you guys. Peace.